Starting off, we have the S&P on the left, Nasdaq in the middle, and the Dow on the right. And we have highlighted currently on the S&P 500 this specific inversion fair value gap right here. Now, what did I say about this inversion fair value gap? Who was paying attention? We want it to hold to see lower prices. And as we can see, the next daily candle that followed after we talked about this gap closed below. Got a nice bearish setup in the morning. So I would like to see continuation of that. If we drop down to a 1 hour chart, we can see that inside of this gap, we also have a sequential SMT. So for today, the signs are telling us bearish. We talked about this all the way on Monday, looking for a bearish setup within there. So I would like to see further continuation of that. This is the framework of today. Now, on a day with no news, it typically becomes a little bit more difficult to maneuver and a little bit more difficult to navigate. So what do I usually tell you guys to wait for? Where's the pinpointed volatility at on the day? Exactly, 9:30. So are we going to try to, finagle our way through pre-market and try to find an entry through pre-market? No. We'll wait for 9:30, see if we can find a means of getting alongside the run lower, and simple as that. So where would a safe and sound invalidation level for the day be? I'll ask you guys. Daily cycle for all highs? Yes, exactly. So we can remove this. Everybody already knows, it's here. Not too concerned about the Dow running up one more time, just due to the fact that it's the one that took the high. So the only importance of an invalidation level for this morning session is if the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq take out this high right here, then the whole idea is invalidated. And now we'll drop to a 15-minute chart. Plot London sessions high. And then an area of interest for, Jacob, where would a good target be if you're able to get onside? Be right down here. Now, why would it be down here? What's the significance down here? Low probability sequential SMT, unsymmetrical lows. Exactly. I had a question about earlier in the week. Thought you said the daily cycle SMT on Friday was low probability would have played out. Was that due to Oracle theory, Monday probabilities, and 4-hour TPD? Yes. What about the hourly PSP? This I'm not too concerned about, just because the day it is. If anything, I would want to see it play in tune with what we want to see, but it's not anything crazy of use. Same thing goes for this. That's why I said on the Dow, doesn't matter if we tag up there one more time. What is Oracle theory? Using statistics and probabilities in alignment with concepts. Do you expect NASDAQ to fill the 4-hour gap given the London high is 6-hour TPD high? If one were to take the high, it'd be more prone to be the Dow. Possibly the NASDAQ, but except we'll see. We don't need to be 7 steps ahead. What is your opinion about the bearish weekly cycle sequential SMT that formed? Also on the unsymmetrical highs, is that a sequential SMT high probability? The one for the downside would be higher probability compared to the one at the lows. What about a bullish sequential SMT with 2200 and 600? Yeah, we want to see this fail. And you said the bearish weekly cycle last week that was decoupled was low probability, but it wouldn't be respected based on the close. And if low probability, the daily inversion for value gap is the reason you want to see lower. Exactly. Coming into the trading session, say we were bearish like we are today, and we see London trading opposite to our narrative, bullish. Would that be extra confluence for our narrative? Yes, because that would be the London Judas swing. So all we're doing is waiting for 930 and then waiting for a means to get alongside the run. That's it. As simple as that. If the first trade, just like I taught you guys way earlier, if the first trade fails, we have one more opportunity. If that one fails, done for the day. Come back again tomorrow. Had a little more trouble navigating this week with no higher time frame weekly and monthly cycle until today. How do you navigate a market without those? Is it just respect off higher time frame gaps, daily and 4-hour? Yeah, pretty much. Thoughts on monthly TPD? Still need to wait a little bit longer to see its significance. Once we break out of this range that we're in right here on the daily chart, we'll know for sure. Would you be risking the same on both trades or risking less on the second trade? It's all dependent on what gets shown. If the second trade looks amazing and looks just like the first one, then I'm not going to de-risk. If it looks a little iffy, yeah, I'll de-risk. But if it looks just like the first one, there's no point in de-risking. I keep giving everything a higher time frame. That's the stronger pair. We're doing the opposite. Does this go to show that this is weakest low probability? Yeah, relatively. And the economic calendar plays a part in that as well. So many cracks to go bearish today in London, early in New York. Should we resist to enter with a bigger stop loss? If you wanted to enter right now, like you could. You could enter on the S&P or the NASDAQ if you wanted to. Enter on either or. And then have your stop loss set like at this candle's open. Right here. If you're trading the S&P, you could have a little bit higher risk to reward. But if you're somebody that's impatient, you don't want, those crazy precision entries, you just want to be in a move. Boom. 1 to risk to reward framed right here. But we're not going to do that, because if I were to do that on this account number right here, number 1, I don't know if it's going to deliver fully today. But number 2, they would say I'm trying to change up the system. So we're going to follow the protocols of what I've been saying the previous 4 months. Pretty much, how many now is it? 5 months now? Should you look at OT purely day to day? Data, for example, Monday is just a higher chance of buys, even if Monday does not end up being low of the week, potentially like this, similar to how you say don't stand in the way of the signals trying to make the weekly split theory being respected. Yeah, exactly. It's just, there's a higher chance of one thing happening over another, and if you have the technicals agreeing with that, that's where the magic happens. You expect 9:30 to manipulate the highs one more time, like a 90-minute cycle sequential SMT. We'll see. Why the 4-hour gap doesn't seem significant to you today? Because it's not created by a TR or TTR? No, it is, but we've already rebalanced it on the S&P 500. Do you think that the weekly time frame precision breaker holds any significance? Okay. What time frame are we trading right now? The 5-minute. Way lower. So is a weekly time frame anything going to hold that much significance in terms of day trading? No. Let's withdraw on liquidity is last week's lows. Exactly. Are you waiting for a 90-minute cycle or daily cycle? Either or. It's more prone to be the daily, or not the daily, but the 90-minute cycle to form. But we'll see. The idea is still valid until our invalidation level gets hit. And granted, we do have a pretty big invalidation level for today, but the idea is still of use. Just some bookkeeping stuff. I know you probably don't want to speak on it, but Miss Monday's live stream where you talked about the situation in the Watt page and this new Discord still good, and why were people talking so much about 369, even though I know how you feel about that. Because a particular person, which you know his name, kicked Day and I out of out of our own business, kicked Day and I, and then banned us from the servers where we couldn't join back, and then started trying to play the White Knight. Which, if you don't know what that is, just search it up. From the jump, he had permissions to everything. He owned the rights to all of the servers. He owned everything. Nobody had a say in that. He just did it on his own. Didn't ask anybody, didn't, approve anything. He said, here, I'll make the server. Boom. And then months later, look what happens. I mean, you can believe what you want to believe. You can think there's some secret mystical 369 code out there, but at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you the same thing. The whole purpose of technical analysis is to identify whether or not line wants to go up or line wants to go down. That's it. Whether it's 369, whether it's MACD, whether it's support and resistance, supply and demand, quarterly theory, SMC. If you can correctly identify whether the market's going to go up or down, that's all that matters. From there, it's just emotional and psychological. And if you think I'm lying to you, if you disagree, then go out there, go learn it, go figure it out for yourself, and then come out compete. Come outdo what we do here. Oh, forgot, it's our favorite time. It's musical chairs. No, not magnet time. We gotta lock in today. You know what? I'm feeling amazing today. We'll keep it hidden, stowed away. Did you guys see my giraffe background again? I need somebody to AI generate a higher quality of it. Because, it's in 480p and it looks terrible. Which you guys already know the story behind it. But I need a higher quality one. So if anybody out there knows AI generation, please regenerate this right here with the giraffes and that sunset in high quality. Canva has an image upscaler. I think I was a little shaken up by the drama, even though I've seen the concepts play out in front of me. You and my own hypothesis and results, probably just a fear of failure, and need more time to gain conviction in this process. Thank you for your work. You're welcome. Which, like I said, if you look up what quote-unquote playing the White Knight is, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And the things you're feeling right there are exactly what he wants you to feel. So then you'll, go to him. Which, like I said, by all means, if anybody wants to, please. Nobody's holding you here. Have you heard about Tapta with Zusi and Rich the Bull? Yes. Use it for a little bit. Saw it was complete bullocks. And just realized there's always going to be a higher time frame gap that price is actually referring back to. That's why I tell you guys to only look at 4-hour time frame gaps in terms of a continuation on a day. That's why, because I looked into that and I saw that didn't work, but then I found, wait a second, turns out there's actually a 4-hour gap here that works. CRT thoughts. CRT only works because of quarterly theory. It's the only reason why it works. Romeo got his stuff from day. They all used to be in a group chat together, him and some other people. Everybody contributed. Romeo took the core components of quarterly theory, which is taking it day by day, adding, sequential SMT and things like that, and then putting it into his found CRT. Some people can't join. I'll get it fixed. We still have plenty of time before 9:30. See, we wouldn't have to deal with this if we didn't have some manic person come in and try to mess everything up. To utilize cast forward after sequential SMT forms on time to when reversal should take place. Well, we look at casting forward in the sense of if a sequential SMT takes place, then we're looking for that same quarter that creates the SMT, as well as that next quarter to continue. Which now we have the Dow creating 90-minute cycle sequential SMT, which is good. Also got a 4-hour fair value gap SMT fill. Yes. Do you think we might have an AMD X day with the big Asia and drop in lunch? Potentially. We'll see. It's going off in live for like 6 hours straight, going off the rails. Well, yeah. I would do the same thing if I could whip up over $60,000 in mentorship costs as well. Don't worry, I've done the numbers. And that's just in the past 48 hours. swap thing. Oh, yeah, I'll get it sorted right here. Boom. Strength and weakness may align on the higher time frame and lower time frame after 9:30. Potentially, we'll see. As of right now, we have the Nasdaq being stronger for downside on the higher time frame. Currently on the lower time frame, we have S&P stronger. Yes, we're waiting for equities open. Do you something in trading which you don't share in public? Yes. Majority of things I share to you guys, because this isn't quote unquote public. Do you take account divergences between different brokers of the same asset? No, I don't look at that. I think the most accurate one is going to be between the CME data, because that one can, if you look into how market making works, especially with CFDs, price action can be skewed. The actual number value on the chart. So what's the trade plan? Bearish, waiting for 9:30 open. That's the trade plan right there. Buy high, sell low. Buy higher, sell even lower. When do you want to start the Top Step account? I think today is pretty good. Do you expect the 9 o'clock candle to close back in the range of the 8 o'clock candle by any chance? Meaning, like, close back into here? Oh, absolutely beautiful. But we would want to see this 9 o'clock candle deliver lower. So any trading above this opening price right here, just like, you know, classic ICT, power of 3, open, high, low, close, right? Any trading above this opening price, we would want to see it form just a Kraken correlation. Simple as that. If the 90-minute cycle failed, bearishness has failed? No. Bearishness has only failed if the S&P and the Nasdaq invalidate the weekly cycle sequential SMT. It's going to be the only thing saying it's quote-unquote failed. All right, so we have 10 minutes till equities open. I like this sequential SMT that we have right here. So we'll see if we can get a continuation off of it, or if price wants to run back higher one more time. Would you ever place a stop order at a future breaker anticipating a universal model and anticipating a large expansion that doesn't provide an entry? Stop order at a breaker? Anticipated. Yeah. Like predicting the, yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, you could do that. You can trade into the breaker as it's becoming the quote-unquote breaker. Once it gets really, or once you get really advanced. If there's a bullish weekly, you don't think that's of significance? No. I want to see that be used as our draw on liquidity for the day. S&P is stronger on the lower time frame. Nasdaq is stronger on the higher time frame for downside. That is the first 5 minute fair value gap after 10 o'clock. Sounds good. Silver bullet. Which, adding on top of that, there's always going to be a new strategy. There's always going to be something that somebody says is new. But once you have what works for you, that's all you need. You don't need to switch to anything else. And you're not even going to care about anything else. Because it's not even in the equation. 1 minute TPD 40? No, it's 1 minute TPD 15 second. Stage is full. Oh goodness. The only way we would be able to have more people coming to the stage is if we have some very, very, very generous people boost the server. We need 7 boosts. Which I've already stated before in the past. Listen, I give my fair share to Discord. I pay about between $60 and $70 a month for Discord. So I'm sorry. It's gotta be somebody else. I would do it, but I already give my fair share to you guys. We're in it together. Yeah, or we could wait for Day to do it. Yeah, you can remove, if anybody boosted the previous server that we were in, you can go ahead and, cancel that. You don't have to cancel it, but you can change it over to here. With 50k, the max position size you can go as 5 micros? No, 50 micros. I believe so, if they haven't changed the rules. So pretty much the morning, you go from higher time frame to lower time frame, seeking sequential S&P to join with the higher time frame bias. Exactly. If so, how do we determine higher time frame bias? Based off a 1 hour and 4 hour time frame, reacting off highs, lows, and gaps. Boom. Right there. What account are you trading? This one, fresh one. This has been the same account number. No trade has been placed on it. No Fugazi. And I don't even know if I'm supposed to be showing this. Like, I don't care. It's a funded account. If anybody wants to hack into my funded account, go for it. Why'd you pick Top Step? I have said personally that I think Top Step is the best. If anybody's ever asked me, I've personally always said Top Step is the best. And I don't get paid to say that. I don't get any affiliate for saying that. That's just my personal opinion. And those that have been with me, you guys know, that's exactly what I've been saying. but I am more interested in the S&P 500 this morning. So I'll probably hunt for something on this. Target is going to be down here, down here. These are our ultimate targets for the day. And we're sticking to the rules. I could enter right now, place a market order, place a stop right here, and then target all the way down here. But no, we're going to stick to exactly the exact same things I've been saying all of this time. Because if I don't, then I already know some pony boy excuse is going to come about. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It is what it is. Being completely 100% transparent. So the equal highs on the S&P doesn't scare you? No. Alright, so we have equities open. We're going to take into account this gap right here on the S&P and the NASDAQ. Oops. There we go. Take this gap into account. We're going to see if we can find a setup. So NASDAQ trading inside of that 5-minute gap. S&P breaking lower. I like how the Dow is delivering. Perfectly in tune with what we want to see. Boom. Dow delivering as expected. So now we want to see the S&P and the NASDAQ follow in suit with that. And if this creates a gap right here, then we'll use this. If it doesn't, then what do? We wait for another gap. We have the NASDAQ trading higher, creating a 90-minute, not a 90-minute, microcycle sequential SMT. Which is fine. And keep aligning the highs, maybe. That would be good though. Like I said, my focus is on the S&P. So if NASDAQ trades to these highs right here, that would just add an extra confluence. Now it wouldn't be in tune with premium and discount, which isn't amazing. We have a 90-minute cycle SMT. Perfect. We have the Dow falling off a cliff, which is good. That's what we want to see. So Dow in this example, in this case, would be the quote-unquote distribution. Foreseen distribution. So we would want to see the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ follow suit. Now the NASDAQ is now the weakest on the lower time frame, which is fine. NASDAQ delivering clean to those lows. All we're waiting for is a gap, just like how I've been demonstrating this entire time. If it doesn't form, then it doesn't form. How do you differentiate between a foreseen distribution and asset creating a cracking correlation in the opposite direction? Well, we came into the day being bearish, number one. So if the Dow immediately upon 9:30 just boom drops, then that's why we'd see that as foreseen distribution. Yeah, this gap, no, we don't care about this anymore. The S&P gap, yeah, it still can hold. I would prefer it to still hold, but if we don't get a 1 minute gap, then we don't care. Retracing into the 5 minute gap, would it be an entry? You could, but I'm sticking to the exact same rules and process that I've told you guys this entire time, because if I don't, then we're gonna have some asshat come on here and say I changed things up. Which we have the NASDAQ creating the daily cycle sequential SMT. Now it's breaking lower. Should FX going higher concern us? No. I'm not concerned with Forex right now. Alright, so we'll see if we get our entry. Like I said, if it forms, it forms. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's no pressure behind this. Alright, so 5 handles, so we're gonna put on 2 contracts. Top set.
Order filled.
Boom, we're in. Stop loss here. Risking $500, which is exactly what I say to do. If it wins, it wins. If it loses, it loses. It's not that big of a deal. An area of a partial is going to be right here. Which will do it once it trades inside of this gap. Forgot to mention, we're moving a little quick. Stop loss here. Have to earn less than 50% of the target. Yeah. Once it trades down here, we'll move it to break even. If it trades a little bit lower, then we'll take something off. Now, granted, should have entered with 20 micros so I could properly size out, but it's a funded account. It's not that big of a deal. Very limited on the quote-unquote lot size I'm able to trade. Partial. This line right here. Stop loss. This line right here. I want to see it trade a little bit below this low, though. Why that stop loss? Take this high right here. This is the high of the gap. Look at this high right here. This is the candle that created the gap. This is the candle in a 3-candle formation. The candle to the left. This high right here. If price comes all the way back higher, taking out this high right here, this gap is no longer valid. And right now, the trade is on. All right. Once you have a trade on, control is lost. Meaning the only thing you can do now, we don't control the price. We don't control what these markets do. The only thing we can do is just let the trade play out. It's either a win, it's either a loss, it's either a stop out, it's either a take profit, it's either a break even. Control is lost. The only thing you can do is manage that position. That's it. That's all you can do whenever you're in a trade. You have your initial stop, your initial target. Boom. Done. Can you explain why you're partial at the 50? This gap right here. This low right here. Which admittedly I did get a little bit confused, thinking that this low was this low. But if price were to come all the way down here on the full leverage, it would, the most you're allowed to make on one of these is 1,500 in a day. So if anything, take a partial once it breaches down in here. Once it trades like around here, take a partial, and then we'll just let it ride. So risk is completely removed. And admittedly, it's very difficult managing all this at the same time. A lot easier when you're by yourself. There's no reason to pyramid. Zero reasoning in price to pyramid. 50% off at that level? No. If I were you, I would take off 30% of the position. Or 20, admittedly, probably 20% of the position. I put on 2 minis because, like I say, you want to risk $500. It's a funded account. You're limited in the way you can risk. And we'll monitor what's going on over here. Look at some other time frames. So remember what I said about the 9 o'clock candle? Looking for everything that happens above this candle to serve as what? Reason to be bearish. Form that Kraken correlation. Yes. Did we form a gap after that Kraken correlation? After 9:30? Yes. Price coming back. Does that scare me at all? No. This is the exact same rules, the exact same protocol that I've given you for the past 3 months. Like I said, if it stops us out, it stops us out. If we win, we win. There shouldn't be any emotional commitment behind it. All we're going to do, look for another reason in price to enter. Things like this shouldn't scare you. This shouldn't cause you to go off the rail. Why was that level marked for taking partials? Because that was a level for the gap. This 15-minute gap. The room is full yet. There's nothing, unfortunately, that I can do about that. Stopped for someone to leave and then I hopped in. Thoughts on the 90-minute bullish sequential SMT. Now the daily cycle is higher weighted. We came into the day bearish, so sticking to that. And if you get stopped out here, it doesn't matter. Just look for another entry. If that one fails, you guys already know. Call it a day. The same exact system I've been saying for the past 4 months.
Order filled.
Boom. Stopped. That's good. Now, do you hear any shakiness in my voice? Do you hear me frantically running around the room? No. Why? Did we manage risk? Yes or no? Yes. Are we still fine? Yes. Now, we wait for another opportunity. That's the same account. And then if that one fails, then we come back tomorrow. Now 4 minis? No. Don't put on 4 minis now. Weekly cycle and a daily cycle forming. Perfect. That just follows in tune with what we want to see. The fact that the Dow is taking the low is not an issue. No, we want to see this act as foreseen distribution. And if it runs without us and doesn't give us another entry, it's not the end of the world. These things repeat. Stops you out and goes straight to TP. That'd be funny. If we form another gap here, we're going to use that gap to try to get alongside the run. If that fails, that's it. It's done. Done for the day. Still more favorable of the S&P 500. Okay. So now, back here. I believe I can go to MPS. Can I put on? Yeah. So it trades into this gap. 15 micro contracts, which would be like 1 contract and a half.
Order filled.
Jump the ship a little bit there, but try to get a perfect entry on that high of it, just to show you don't have to get the absolute best case scenario. Same targets reside. I'm gonna see lower. This high right here. If it fails, it fails. If it wins, it wins. If it loses, then we're done for the day. That's it. It's done. And yeah, the good thing about limiting yourself to 2 trades per day is that, let's say it does come back all the way up here and takes us higher here. What does that indicate? Which it did. What does that indicate? Seek and destroy. Which I'm not going to hide anything. It's right here. So, 2 trades. Done. Same risk, same risk. Well, a tiny bit less, because if I would have put 2 minis on there, that would have flopped. Looks like beans and toast today, yeah. So now, we're going to take, this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take 930. And we're going to study and observe the gaps that formed. Bearish gap offered, ran a little bit, got super close to our partial profit, traded higher, came back against us. Gap that formed here, bullish. Let's say we weren't bearish. Let's say we were bullish. Gap that formed here, perfect entry, traded higher, would have came back against you. Another bullish gap right there. Bearish gap right here that we just used. Traded against it, or traded into it. Boom. Done. So what does this indicate on a day like today? High resistance. Difficult to navigate. Lower time frame gaps aren't working. Higher time frame cracking correlations are being faded. But usually wait for 9:45 a.m. to avoid that manipulation at 9:30. Well, right at 9:30, bearish daily cycle sequential SMT form. Alongside another 90-minute cycle cracking correlation. Do you think the PM session will be better? We'll see. The only thing that matters is how the day closes. Which, I love it. I like this. I like that I'm in drawdown now. It's becoming a challenge. Because I know there are a few of you that are like, I knew it. I knew he couldn't do it. So we'll see. Now Lawson will said, here's the fact that it doesn't work. Exactly. I'm just gonna sound like ICT now with the inner chats. Turns out we're all a little bit schizo. I'm entering the 5-minute gap. I closed it manually when last candle closed above it. I see now we're wicking down hard. I made the wrong decision from this 5-minute gap right here. Didn't necessarily make the wrong decision, but did wick above there one more time. What would your amount of risk be tomorrow? Probably going to lower it a little bit. And if it runs without us, I mean, it's either way, it's an amazing case study. Because if it runs lower without us, oh, figured it out. But anyways, if it runs lower without us, without giving an entry, that's fine. That's good. Did you trade yesterday as well? No. On a personal account, I avoid going into weeks like this because of this exact reason right here. On a funded account, it's not that big of a deal. It's $50 at the end of the day. What was the risk reward for both trades? This one was a 1 to 4 on the first one, going towards this low right here. And then this one was, I believe I got filled like around here, so I'm not gonna give myself too much credit. Second one was a 1 to 3. So, did we follow the plan today? The same exact plan we've been following for the past 4 months. Come in, we have a bias. Cool. Okay, cracking correlation, in tune with our bias. Yes. 9:30 a.m. open, 1 minute gap. Check. Entry, boom. Simple as that. And for this right here, if anything, it would create a crack in correlation. Even since the 5 minute 9:30 just chop, yeah. It is what it is. Could we get a continuation model on the 1 hour gap? Potentially. And for the person that asked, I'm not sure if I answered it, but what is seek and destroy? Well, if we look, we can see since the equity's open, 9:30. Look at the range we've been inside of. We've just been going lower, creating new highs, or not new highs, forgive me. Lower, creating new lows, trading higher, creating new highs. Going all the way lower, and then trading new highs. Lower, new highs. Making extreme highs and lows. That's what that's what seek and destroy is. See, these are the kinds of days to where if you're not apt for this and you're still a beginner, these are the kinds of days that are going to ruin you. If you don't have that discipline to, okay, I've done my business, I waited for everything I'm supposed to wait for, came in, okay, was a loss, saw another opportunity, came in, was a loss. Okay. Did you follow the rules? Did you follow the system? Did you follow everything required for you to click a button? If the answer is yes, Is it really a losing day? No, it wouldn't be a losing day. Because over time, over an extended period of time, are you going to have a profitable outcome if you follow that same protocol over and over and over and over and over again. You would. But if you don't, like I said, if you don't have that inner discipline in yourself to, okay, the market's clearly not delivering how I want it to, so I'm not going to push. If you don't have that and you keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, especially in a market environment like this, where it just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to blow the fuck out. Which price is now trading higher, going towards ultimate highs, but it's only invalidated. The idea is only invalidated until we see that right there. Maybe 2 losses. But the best live stream, this is how we'll progress. Put our balls on the table and trade live. Exactly. It's all going to come down to risk management. Is your head still in the game? Can you still live to trade another day? Yes or no? Yes. Well, for the people that, went degenerate mode, probably not. But if you manage risk, you're fine. You're good. We'll have tomorrow. Tomorrow will be even better than today. Get what you're saying, but sometimes I still get that feeling of not doing enough, logging off after a losing day. And the only reason why you feel that is because you have an attachment to the money. See, the reason why you feel that way after taking a loss is because in your mind, progression equals destined life. So, exhibit A, if you take a win on a day, oh, I made progress, I did this. But in trading, that doesn't carry over. In real life, like whenever you're, doing something brute force, like you can brute force your way through life. You can work endless hours at a physical place. You can work endless hours sitting on a desk doing tasks. In trading, that same thing doesn't carry over. So that feeling of, okay, I'm not making progress because I didn't get a win today, that doesn't exist. That's not how it works. Day yesterday said it about the highs on the S&P 500. Give him credit. True, I'm just attached to the damn funded accounts, yeah. And the reason why is because, like I said, you want your destined life, whatever it may be, and you're trying to get there through a means of this. Now, while it's possible, if you can't, in a sense, I'm not going to say completely not care, but if you're attached to every single outcome, then that's just going to become an emotional tug of war on yourself. Over time, these markets are going to wear on you. That's what I said at the very beginning of this. The very beginning, what did I say? If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. Doesn't matter. Like, I don't care. We're just going to follow the same protocols, the exact same ones that we've been following for the past 4 months that have yielded results. And even if you followed me today, if you followed me blindly for the past 4 months, which I say don't follow me blindly, do your own analysis, make sure you yourself are in check with what you see. But if you've followed me blindly, you're still up on the year. So things like this shouldn't affect you. I would say up on the month, but this is technically the first week of the month. Couldn't this be a second stage with the daily cycle now? Potentially. But like I said, we're done for the day. Half down to max, yeah. And like I said, this is amazing. This is good. I love it. How probable now is it to completely turn the wheel and run down? There's a potential chance, but generally within the first 30 minutes of the session, meaning from 9:30 to 10 o'clock, if the Dow does what it did and the Nasdaq and the S&P don't follow suit, typically that's when you just get low probability, things doing their own thing. The assets doing their own thing. Between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, that first 30 minutes, that's when you'll see assets follow in suit with the Dow. You'll see the Dow create the Kraken correlation, and that gets used. In this case, decoupling. To be fair, we did say the week is at 3-2. Wednesday created the high of the week. Potentially, we'll see. But like I said, even if it delivers without us, it's good. It's fine. We wait for the exact same protocol the next day. And then after that day, the exact same protocol again. And then after that day, the exact same one again. One day shouldn't affect and question your entire system. So a week like this, after coming from such a good week last week, would you trade this week even if a star set up forms, or wouldn't bother? Well, you guys already know what I'm waiting for before really trying to gauge on that higher time frame. Either this range high or this range low. We're waiting to be broken out of that. Once that happens, then we begin to hunt again. So the setup, so the setup today, you would not normally take on your personal. No, due to the fact of the kind of week it is. Now, if it were a good week, of course, 100%. But I got called out to do something, so I'm gonna show up and do it, regardless of the outcome. Good lesson on how to deal with losses and stick with the system. Exactly. Love that you took the live loads to learn, yeah. And who knows? If we end up passing the account, then it might become something we do on the regular. I'll just run up the funded account the exact same way I did back then. We get a payout, then we buy more accounts, then we pass more challenges, then with those challenges, pass those, and we get ultimate payouts. Easy. Following this exact same system right here. Nothing's changing. If you go look yesterday the system worked. If you go look at the other tape readings, the system worked. If you go look at more of the other tape readings, sometimes it doesn't work. It is what it is. What is the RR looking in a prop firm? Well, if you do it properly, the risk reward, you're risking $50 to make $2,000, give or take. And nothing's gonna change. Like, I'm not changing anything, changing on my words, anything that we said on the past. To be honest, I'll probably risk the exact same amount. And if I lose 2 trades in a row tomorrow, we'll just buy another one. Start over again. If we win a trade tomorrow, then guess what? We're gonna be in profits. Now, once we get to an actual real funded account, that's where things get fun. If things get ugly because of August and you blew the first account, you'll purchase another one, yeah. Just sticking to the system. Yeah, shorts are still valid. Like I said, invalidation level has not been hit, so shorts are still valid. If you took 2 trades today, it's done. Let it run without you. You don't want to open the invitation for that emotional tug of war. It's more than about the money. It's following the rules. I know there's someone who followed you and full ported. If you recommend first payout of 1,000 for buying 2 more accounts, then yeah. We'll see. We'll let everything take its course. Which I believe you need, like, don't you need 5 days of $200 or something like that? Which a profit target for us would be more than 200. We'd probably be risking about 150 to 200 per trade. Did you say about risking 150, 200 per trade? Yeah, on the actual funded stage. Risking the evaluation and risking the actual funded stage, 2 completely different things. Which, as we can see here, on a day like today, whether we were whether you were bullish or whether you were bearish, it doesn't matter. Guess who got lost? If you're intraday trading and you're, scalping, which is what we're doing, it doesn't matter which side of the market you're on. The only way you would have made money today is if you cut everything short. That's because of that damn M word. On props, the funded stage, size in 1 good setup, and then the other days I risk light just for the winning days, easy payouts. That's good. That damn M. Make it even more clear. M word. Don't worry, I'm not like the I'm not like the manic guy. What? Anyways. Looking at the bearish reversion level, do we use the highest up close candle to predict the close past? If you're talking about, yes. But you want to take the one with the biggest wick. W, wick. For those that might have misheard me again. Yeah, and that's just how he is. But it is what it is. It's good. You can't let people listen. If you climb up the ladder and you give yourself a presence, you're gonna have enemies. You're gonna have people that don't like you. That's just human nature. You're gonna be able to emotionally charge people. Like, did you see Day or I going off the rails, going back and forth? No. The best move you can make, because it's going to happen to some of you guys. Some of you guys are going to go out there and you're going to get enemies. You're going to get people that don't like you just for simply being yourself. Whenever that happens, the best move, always, is just to ignore. Do you know who Breath Scales is? Which, as we can see, now it's going clear towards our target. It's fine. It's good. Was there any way to get alongside this run, even after? Were there any gaps they got traded into? Nope. Boom. That first partial that we had highlighted, which yes, I said I want to see it trade a little bit deeper into it. That first partial that we had highlighted just got hit. But this is good. Does it mean we were onside today? Yes. Think you can win the Robbins Cup with the strategy? Yes. But we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell everything. Shorter from the 4-hour gap after the 4-hour TBD high gets turtle soup. At the moment it's playing out. Do you suggest this as a short-term trade all the way down to Monday's low to recoup my loss today? Yeah. Recoup the loss. Remove all attachment. You don't want to open the invitation for it to come back against you, and then you had open profits, but you didn't take it, and then you're, kicking yourself in the ass about that. You don't want to open that. You don't want to invite that into what you have going on. Turned 22 today. Happy birthday. Okay, so now we have to full port. It's the full porter's birthday. Also right after that 10 a.m. 1 minute candles did not print that good. Like, you shouldn't be. We were bearish today. We tried to short at the open. Price decided, no, I don't want to do the run yet. Ran up higher one more time. But even though it ran up higher one more time, the same way that we get in the means of an entry, did it offer, since that pinnacle of the run higher, did it offer any means of getting in a trade to get alongside the short run? No. So should this be a thing that, like, it's running without me, I'm pissed, I'm angry, da-da-da? No. There wasn't even an opportunity to get into this. Two trades and tape read. Exactly. And no, I'm not doing anything on this side of the screen. It still remains the exact same. And how do you turn on executions? We're going to turn on execution labels. Does anybody know how to turn on execution labels on here? Should be in the trading tab. Settings. I know it's done it before. It's been a while. On the left, cog. And then it's going to be charts and data. Show executions. Save. There we go. It didn't show our one from right here. Oh, because we want the MES. There we go. Yes. Nothing has changed. Thanks, going to hack you. So, recap. We took one, tried to short this gap. Got very close to our area where we wanted to take a partial. Ran back against us. Why did we go to MES? Because the stop allocation from here to here is a little bit more. Put on the same amount of leverage, essentially the same amount of leverage, because $500 risk. That's why I say to risk per trade. Sitting up, we'll round up to 1,000. Try to short again. Boom, done. No, don't be on the 1 minute chart after 10 o'clock. And we'll come back tomorrow. See what tomorrow brings. Which is fun. I like this. I like that I'm in drawdown. Because it's going to be even better. Even better for us. Yeah, this is not a good morning session at all. But don't blame the... You don't want to blame the charts. Whoever else boosted, shout out to you guys. Drawdown isn't a thing that should affect you. If drawdown affects your next trade, you're trading with emotions. $47 win right now. Damn it. Yeah, like if we win one trade tomorrow, we're going to be in profits. The power of risk to reward. And then if we win one trade, the next tape reading. Shit. We're over halfway done with the account. And then if we win a trade after that, boom. Account done. Just usually go and draw down on afternoon trades. Yeah, that's why I avoid the afternoon session. We want to see payouts from this account. Don't worry. If we pass the account, we're just going to take it even further. The worst part about an eval drawdown is having an extra day because of consistency. It is what it is. Never in life do you want to be too reactive about things. Things are going to happen. That's just part of it. The only thing you can control is what you're going to do about it. It's the only thing you can control. And if you sit, just mope about anything that's happened in the past, or sit and just feel sad for yourself, it's not gonna get you anywhere. It's not gonna help the scenario at all. Is this a universal model? 5-minute gap with the breaker? Technically, yes. Formed a little bit later in the day. That's fine. Yeah, that's why we're risking so much, because it's an eval. Nowhere near the same comparison as a regular account. So when you look for weeks to trade your personal CPI non-farm payroll FOMC, yeah, the weeks with volatility. Because I stick to the higher time frame, just to simply avoid this right here. Once you move to the higher time frame, you don't have to worry about this. You just trade CPI week? No, not just CPI week. How much longer do you think you'll be here for this morning? Probably till like 10:45. I like talking to you guys. Now, if it were just me, after those 2 losses, I would have walked away. Like, physically walked away from my computer. I would have looked at how the day closed, seen it compared to what I thought was going to happen, and then boom. Have you done this funded challenge before? Yeah, I've passed many, many funded accounts. Funded accounts aren't hard to pass. All you need is one good trade, and then boom, half the account is pretty much done. And then another good trade after that, and then it's done. If you experience drawdown, then it just turns into 3 trades. If you experience even more drawdown, then it's just 4 trades. It's just risk to reward of managing what you're allowed to lose. Because on a 50K account, do you really have 50K? No, you have whatever you're allowed to lose, which for the top step one, $2,000. See why I said if you don't trade, or if you already traded today, don't trade again? If you're somebody that doesn't follow the rules, what's going to happen? Smoked. We're having higher highs, lower lows, higher highs again. As of right now, higher time frame bias still remains the same. Still expect these lows, but lower time frame chart sidelined because the market is not. We're stuck within a range. That's why I'm not really too keen on looking for anything. So much journal the night before, forecast and bias, seeing, and then while seeing the charts, pre-market, plan for the session, and after positions taken, filling in results. Exactly. Don't worry, like I said, we'll be back tomorrow following the exact same protocol, the exact same system. Often find the day after is easier to trade. Trading the day after a weekly cycle sequential S&P is confirmed with a close is so much better than trading the day it's created. Exactly. That's why I tell you guys that. When price action is choppy, does this indicate that the PM session will provide a higher probability run? Not necessarily. It's 50-50. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But it'll only run if a Kraken correlation is presented at that time. Why can we hear your notifications? Can you guys? At the beginning of the year, you said eventually you'll only need to look at the S&P and the Nasdaq. Do you exclude the Dow sometimes when trading? Yeah. Take for example, as soon as the Dow ran lower, as soon as the Dow made that move right at the open, trading towards where we wanted to see it trade to, that's when we only looked at these two. That was our only focus. But anywho, I think we're going to wrap this one up here. In summary, we followed everything that we usually do. Traded the exact same way that I usually call out. Price just stuck within a range. It is what it is. So, until the S&P and the Nasdaq trade and take this high right here, then the idea for shorts is invalidated. If it doesn't do that, the idea for shorts is still validated. So, with that being said, hopefully you all found this one insightful. Don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow morning. So, enjoy the rest of your day.